let's start with this Cris Carter thing though. For the people who didn't see the clip, I'm finna pull it up because I'm not even shocked though. This don't even surprise me.
You can't hear it, huh?
Let me turn.
This is when the Tebow phenomenon was going on. And he was a huge Tim Tebow guy. So I come on there on a Monday and, we're trading barbs and everything. We go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then I just level set it and was like, listen, if throwing the football is important in the NFL, Tim Tebow will never be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So he got defensive and then he came back and said, well, that's why you didn't win a Super Bowl. Which got nothing to do with nothing. We went to commercial break. I took my earpiece out and I told him, I'll never be on your show again. And if you ever say anything like that to me again, I'll punch you right in the fucking face.
I was just going to say Cris Carter ready to squabble.
Yo.
Hey,
Cali, so you already seen that clip, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay, so man, how y'all feel about Cris Carter telling me?
Fuck that. For one, I respect Cris Carter. We grew up watching Cris Carter. Cris Carter, one of the rawest, whether he got a ring or not. He deserved the ring. Them niggas should have got one over there in Minnesota. But Cris Carter's word is credible, and everything he's saying is facts. I'm saying, Cuz always try to throw shots when he can't win a debate. He did the same thing with Shannon Sharpe. He do the same thing with all these niggas. He personalized it. Like, you ain't get a ring, but the nigga Skip ain't did shit. You making all your content off niggas that's in the NFL. Black niggas at that. I ain't got to make it a race thing because it's NFL, but he spoke facts. The quarterback position, Tim Tebow won games. Niggas hated on Tebow, but he wasn't the best quarterback, but he made it further in the playoffs than a lot of starting quarterbacks that they pay. So I don't really see a problem with Cris Carter point. Niggas getting emotional about it, but he spoke all facts.
It's wild though, because like you said, every time he get to losing a debate or not even necessarily losing a debate, you just talk about somebody that he idolizes, which is weird. He get to attacking you and your personal career, like what you did or you didn't do. It's like, first of all, how are you telling a professional athlete who made it to the highest level of the game and his Hall of Fame status? This ain't no regular wide receiver. Like, this is Cris Carter, bro. Like, he was Cris Carter before Randy Moss was Randy Moss. He showed most of the game. He showed Randy Moss the ropes. He laced Randy Moss cleats when he got to Minnesota. So to discredit and to disrespect him because he didn't win a Super Bowl when you never made it to the highest level of anything is crazy. Not even your own show. You was getting outshined on your own show by Shannon Sharpe, who you also disrespected on behalf of Thomas Edward Brady Jr., who don't even acknowledge your existence. But you're going to sit here and literally tear down your own show in defense of a man that don't even acknowledge your existence. It's weird. It's giving Stan vibes. It's creepy. It's crazy. And for Cris Carter to tell him, look, talk to me like that again, I'm going to punch you in your face. He might have went a little overboard with that, but hey, he might be justified too because we supposed to be partners on TV. Why are you trying to embarrass me to the fans? That don't make no damn sense. Yeah, Messiah's starving. I had to mute that nigga, man.
Hey, Cali, but Cub muting me on Insane Crip. Don't he eat every time we on this motherfucker? Cub always trying to make rules for niggas that don't apply to him. But hey,
I don't be slacking though.
Nah, but on Insane, Cris Carter wasn't wrong, nigga. He like, nigga, you taking this pass? I'm taking your disrespect at the door as soon as you started. Nigga on Insane, like, nigga, you feel like you gotta personalize something? I'm gonna personalize these hands, nigga. Okay. I thought before he even said it, I'm like, in my mind, Cuz should get off on Cuz. I'm already thinking that. And Cris Carter was right. Like, Skip be doing this shit all the time to every nigga that get on that show that don't got the same points as him. And they points be valid. They way more valid. And Cris Carter is first ballot hands team. Top tier receiver. Any nigga right now would take Cuz in his prime. Like, Cuz could have played anywhere and shine. So to hate on Cris Carter and talking about you never got a ring, yeah, it don't matter. But him it ain't his fault he didn't get a ring. Him himself, Cuz was a GOAT.
It's a team sport, so you blaming me not getting a ring. Like, bro, this ain't basketball where one person can just take over the whole game. Like, bro, it's 11 people on this damn field that we got to count on. So I could be doing my part, and they fucking up. Guess what? We finna lose. Or we all doing our part. Now the defense fuck up, and we lose. So that ain't really in his hands. He did his part. Like you said, he damn the first ballot Hall of Fame, all hands team. they're using his skill set right now. Is like right now the receivers are molded around his skill set. So Skip is crazy, man. Kylie, talk to us, man.
I agree with y'all. I think that I didn't even know Skip had a track record of that. That was the first time I seen somebody else kind of come out and say something. Because I had never seen it before besides with Shannon Sharpe. But it doesn't surprise me, man. Again, he's not a player in the game, so he takes certain things personal. He wants his opinion to be heard and be validated by those people in the game. And when they don't validate it, he goes ahead and that's when he turns it personal because he's offended. So it's just one of those things to be on the outside looking in. And you see what happened with the demise of his show. I mean, he thought he was bigger than the culture. I'm not going to say Skip is a culture vulture, but I feel like he assumed that the people were there for him. And I think he assumed that due to the fact that people like Shannon Sharpe, people like Stephen A, giving him his props for putting him on and shit like that, which, of course, that's what you're supposed to do if you're a stand-up dude. But I think he took that and it inflated his ego of what people were really coming to the show for. So he started treating people a certain way. He's obviously, felt like that before. But for me, just picking up on it with Shannon Sharpe, that's the vibes I've gotten from Skip Bayless. So I mean, if you're going to take it personal and say something personal, and if you want to catch these hands outside, I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it, because, again, you're speaking about my legacy. This is how I fed my family. This is, the history of me. So I think it's definitely personal, and it aids or it warrants for shit, whatever, Once you say something and put it out there, you can't control how it's going to come back to you.
Shout out to the chat too. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey, but see, I don't always like making this a race thing, right? Yeah. But I'm trying to remember a time he ever did something like this to a white player. Because I read comments from people like, yeah, if that was Wes Welker, he wouldn't have said a damn thing. So I'm trying to really sit here and think before I discredit him. What white player has he done this to? Like tore their career down? Like, yeah, that's why you ain't make Hall of Fame. That's why you ain't make a Super Bowl. That's why you ain't won a damn NBA championship. Only over the black players. I'm starting to see a trend with this nigga.
No, I'm gonna discredit him because he's only gonna argue the players that he know got rings or got certain values of a white person. In a sense, it ain't gotta be race. It's sports at the end of the fucking day. But at the end of the day, it's respect first, and that's what Cris Carter is getting at. Like, I see your fake disrespect, like you trying to cover it up as a sports thing, but nigga, I see through that shit, nigga, and that's like niggas be fake and trying to throw jokes aside and make it like something else. Like, nah, nigga, I see through it and I'm gonna get off for you. Some niggas ain't gonna just talk. Some niggas just gonna fire your shit up. And that's what Cris Carter getting at. He checking it like, nigga, I see what the fuck you doing. So now, nigga, you can catch these hands. I don't give a fuck how people viewing it. So that's how I look at it. Like, fuck all that, cuz trying to be nice and disrespect, cuz that's what it is. And cuz not going for it.
No, that's a fact, because even Shannon Sharpe said, man, I had to really sit here, breathe, and pray in my mind not to jump across this table and put my hands on this man, because the level of disrespect that he took it to over a simple damn sports talk and give my opinion on another man, Tom Brady, was crazy. So this is the second person who was like, you know what? I got to quit this show or I'm going to catch a case. I'm going to wind up beating the fuck out of Cub. So he got the new cast, and this another thing. His show ain't even his show without us. This is why I keep telling everybody, in any industry, in the entertainment industry, if we're not a part of it, it's a wrap. You see, he didn't go get no all-white cast. He didn't go get a white partner because ain't nobody watching that shit. So he went and got Michael Irvin. He went and got Sharpe. He went and got a group of niggas, and they low-key took his show over and turned that into some homies just kicking his shit to where nobody even wanted to watch that shit no more.
Callie, so that's what happened. Callie, do you know the other person that's supposed to take over? They say he's the future of Sports Network. I forget his name. He got the long nose. I'm saying he do the
Max Kellerman
on Babies. They said Max Kellerman is the future of that. He finna take over because shit is about to be done.
That's what I said. I said, Skip, once you said this is my last year, I'm like, he has nowhere else to go. He can't go back to ESPN. You're not gonna go to do ABC or some shit like that, CBS, and do playoff sports. So at this point, he's going to be better off just making money from YouTube because he has his own little podcast thing. But what I'll say is that this is the first time, and this is when you're seeing a different dynamic on Undisputed than it was before. Usually it's two people, and it's somebody that he has brought in that even though with Shannon, he's been in the game, he's looking at this as like an opportunity to come in, and go to the next step in his career. Where you got Keyshawn, Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, they've all already publicly had arguments with him before while they were retired or, you know, during their time in the NFL. So they've already seen how he is as a reporter and a journalist. So they really already don't fuck with bro. So when they get on a show, you could really see where the I'm a player and you're not is relevant in the conversation. A lot of times they leave him out and he just sits back and doesn't say nothing no more because it's the majority of people that feel a certain way about him. He can't really go against it like he could when it was Shannon or when it was Stephen A.
Even going against Shannon, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer that got rings, that did the most out of tight ends in his day, and still to this day, probably better than 95% of tight ends. There's only about 2 that's above him, and they probably wasn't even better. They accolades look better. But playing in the way Shannon played, he might have been still all-time damn near number 1, besides Kelsey and Gronk.
It's just he got some niggas in there, to me, Shannon, Stephen A., that are going to be more like, I don't want to say let you walk over them, but they're going to have a higher tolerance than somebody like Keyshawn or you see Paul Pierce coming in there. They're gonna say something off the rip, whereas in somebody like Shannon might let it slide because he wants to get to the next step. Somebody like
professional level,
you know what I mean? Somebody like Cris, you know, might say, all right, fuck it, whatever. Whereas in other dudes, they might slip up and let's let them have it.
So clearly Skip was the problem because Shannon has went on to go have several successful platforms, and Skip has been struggling ever since. They're part. You feel me, as partners. So
what's his name?
The problem.
Don't forget he was on there with what's the other nigga on ESPN that started with him?
Who?
The main nigga,
Stephen
black
Stephen A.
Yeah, on Babies.
Stephen A. got on it, and his shit went on to be successful, and he got a podcast. So really, Skip is the problem, and this is perfect example of not knowing your lane. You get around people of a certain ilk and you start to feel like you them niggas. It's like the square nigga who start hanging around the gangsters like Drake, and then you start to think you one of these niggas. Like, wait a minute, cuz you're not one of us. We just let you hang. But when we get to talking about these war stories and what we done did out here in the field, your opinion ain't valid no more. Right. You ain't lace up them boots, bro. You wasn't out here. Or that's like somebody in ROTC trying to trade war stories with somebody who was an Afghan vet. Like, nigga, you that little play shit you did in high school, because I think Skip played high school ball. That shit don't matter, bro. We did this shit at the highest level. We got Purple Hearts over here. Like,
he just a male Ellen. That's what it sounded like to me. He's just a terrible person to work around. His ego is super inflated. Eventually, it's gonna come out. Like I said, you done burnt all your bridges. You ain't got nowhere else to go besides.
He's cooked. So yeah.